Alex Morgan, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you. Hi, Alex.
Hi. Okay, you tell me when is the last time you touched a soccer ball and I'll tell you.
Oh my God. Okay, the last time I touched soccer ball was this was like 5 months ago. Yeah. They tried to get me to juggle in heels. And I said, I can't juggle right now, let alone in heels. Okay, your turn. Tell me.
First of all, I need to validate you because when you're playing, you take obviously juggling so seriously because it's kind of like a fun thing that you do before practice or after games or whatever. And there's obviously the girls that are so good at it. I used to be really good, so I'm so competitive with myself. So whenever someone's like, oh, so juggle, I'm like, let me just, first of all, I haven't touched a soccer ball. So the fact that you think I can just do like a one-legged volley up and then onto my knee, like, no. Stop it. You're insulting me.
I was kind of scared coming here because I was like, are we going to like bust out a soccer ball?
Wait. No, my team literally had a soccer ball ready and I was like,
put that away.
We didn't know. And they were like, what if for the promo you like kick the ball? And I was like, wait, what? You want me to juggle? And they're like, no, just like slide the ball to the left. And I was like, okay, that's bare minimum, but like I can do that. No, I haven't touched a soccer ball except for we got one for like my little like nephew at our house and he was playing with it. And then I like started to get competitive and he's 3.
And then you slide tackled him.
Basically. And then they're all like, what is wrong with you? That's like the last time I touched one. But to actually like play, no, it makes me sad. But happy, sad, but sad. It's weird.
It is weird, but it's also like, don't want to be getting injured. So I will leave that in the past life.
Absolutely. We were good at one point. No, I was fine. You were great at one point, and now you deserve to relax and protect your shins and your knees
and the knees
and your ACLs
and the ankles and the ACLs,
the whole thing. Okay. I just need to say, like, I have now interviewed 2 of your former teammates. I interviewed Abby Wambach and I interviewed Trinity Rodman. Do you keep up with these ladies, or do you guys kind of do your own thing? Like, how do you vibe with old teammates?
Yes to all of that. Abby, we just like see each other randomly. I actually got I recently got the Icon Award. That's not a humble brag, but like from ESPN. And Abby was like, I can't go to watch your Icon Award. So she went the night before and literally flew out like right after saying hi to me. And she's like, I just wanted to be here for you.
Wow.
And that was actually really incredible. I like cried. I was like, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. Like So me and Abby really care about each other. And Trin is someone who I care dearly about. And I've just seen her career and just her life take off in front of my eyes. And I'm really happy for her. So I do try to keep up with the girls, but it's not like every day we're on like group text and texting and stuff. Like I got kids. I have like mom group friends that don't even know who Alex Morgan is, which I'm so happy with.
You like it.
It's so nice. I just show up and I'm just like one of the moms.
Until you're like, oh, now my little one want to play soccer. And all of a sudden everyone's like, who can teach them? And then you're going to be able to be like, I'll do it.
I will be like in my hoodie. No. Do you have an extra hoodie I can wear?
You're like, not me. And then you come out of retirement for your kids and you're like, let's go.
Get the ball. Side tackle.
For details. I'm excited to talk to you today because you have paved the way for so many women on and off the field. And I have looked up to you for so long, and I know so many people watching have. So I want to go back to the beginning a little bit here. You decided at 7 that you wanted to be a professional soccer player. This is what I read. And you told your mom that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Can you share the story of when you told her this and what her reaction was?
Yeah. So, taking us way back. So my sister, I have 2 older sisters, and I like always wanted to follow in their footsteps. I was always trying to like do everything they did, but better, obviously, as the youngest sibling goes. And so my sister was like, decided to write a little sticky note to my mom to put in her office, like, hi, Mom. I love you so much, and I want to become a model when I grow up. That was what my sister wanted to be. And I was like, model, lame. Like, let me tell you. So I was like, hi, Mommy, I love you so much. And when I grow up, I want to be a professional soccer player. And she had like my sisters and mine, posted them on the wall and was like, girls, you go get it. Like, I will do anything you need to be able to accomplish that. So my mom took me to Mia Hamm's retirement game. She bought season tickets to like two women's leagues before that folded, just to support the team. Like we couldn't ever go to the games, but like just to support the team. And she was like, let's do this. Like, I'm here. We'll fly across country. Like, I'll do anything to help you become a professional soccer player, which, by the way, there was like little to no avenue to do that at the time.
Absolutely. Like, well, it's also cool for you, Alex, because I feel like so many girls did grow up being like, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. And then it doesn't happen. And you get to sit here now and like, it's crazy even hearing you reference Mia Hamm, because I grew up and Mia was just like my everything. I had the posters, like I went to games, like I watched her on TV. And then you became a lot of young girls Mia Hamm. And how crazy to think that it started on this Post-it note, and your mom, which is incredible to know that your parents were so supportive and they were like, oh, we've got you. Because I think a lot of times when kids are young, parents can be like, yeah, sure, you want to do that. And then they don't actually help foster that drive and that dream that you have. So that's really cool. Your parents were supportive.
It was really awesome.
Your dad, though, was also a huge part of your life. You said that he was one of the best coaches that you ever had. But
did I say that?
Yes, you had said my dad was one of
at the time.
Yes, my dad had been one of my best coaches, even though he knew nothing about soccer.
That sounds on par.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Is there anything that you look back now that your dad like taught you or had you do that you're like, that literally made no sense, Dad? Like that makes no sense for soccer, but since you're my dad, I was just like doing it.
So I lived my like playing career just like I had my dad in the back of my head all the time, because he knew, like, growing up, I played all different sports and I knew I wasn't the best soccer player. Like I was not the most technical athlete out there. I had athleticism, but like put a ball in my foot and like I couldn't make it go exactly where I wanted it to go. But my dad like instilled this confidence in me, and he kept just after every game, after every training, like he didn't tell me like, good job, you did everything perfectly. There was criticism in there, but he would tell me, you are the best. Like, and you need to believe that when you step on the field, you need to believe you are the best, because you are. Like, in my eyes, you deserve better. Like, we went to a team when I went from rec to club soccer, and he was like, this is not the team for you. They don't treat you like you're the best. The coach doesn't believe in you like you believe in yourself. We're going to a different team. So I think like that confidence that he instilled in me and like he almost had for me, kind of helped me believe that throughout my career. So it was like, I don't care that I am not the best soccer player. I can't put the ball in the exact spot that I want to, but I'm going to believe that I'm the best all around, all day, every day. And just having the mentality took me a really long way.
I appreciate you sharing that. You acknowledge like you weren't always like the most talented on the team. Like you really had to work for it. Because I saw when I was preparing for the interview, I was also shocked to learn that as a teenager, one of your coaches, you had said, told you that you weren't good enough for the team and that you would be a practice player. Mm-hmm. I love that you're smirking.
I'm smirking because I got a text from him like,
no,
oh my God, this was like last year. Like it was a long text. I would have to pull it up, but it was like, I'm so sorry. I was in the wrong headspace at the time. And I really apologize for what I said, but it seems like you've done it well for yourself and blah, blah. And I was just like, fuck this. Like, I'm not giving this the time of day at all.
Wait, I also love that it took him this long.
Oh, like,
you're like, babe, I'm
like 20 plus years.
Yeah. Stop. You're like fully winning like a World Cup and he's like can't text you then, but now he's finally like sliding in as you're like retiring and you're like, bro, where has this been for the last 2 decades?
Yeah, no.
Okay, 2011 World Cup. You have to talk to me. You made history as the youngest player in the US to be on that team. Where was your head at mentally when you realized, like, I am going to the World Cup and I am the youngest rookie?
My head was, like, not anywhere to be found. I was like, stay in line, do as you're told, shut up, like, don't say anything. Like, I could not be more opposite than these young players coming in, like, I have arrived. here I am, know my name, learn it, memorize it. Like, I was opposite of that. I was like, don't make a peep, like, shut up, like, don't do anything to get you to have anyone look at you. Even, yeah.
Alex. This is why I love interviewing people, because, like, again, I have images of you in my head on that field when you're, like, scoring, and that, like, competitive, incredible part of you that, like, has that, like, beast mode inside of you. And then hearing you be like, I'm just, like, hiding behind the girls, like, just happy to be here, like, anyone need water? Like,
you know, though, when you step on the field, it's kind of your, like, release.
Yeah.
Like, with you, maybe it's having a microphone in a room by yourself. You know, you just, like, are yourself in a way that you can't explain. And then you get that taken away from you. Like, I step off the soccer field and I'm back to, like, oh, okay, these are my teammates that I've been looking up to my whole life. Like, Abby Wambach just scored the game winner to move us into the semifinal in overtime of extra time. Like, and now I'm off the field and I'm, like, having dinner with her and we're just, like, have to move on to the next game. Okay.
Right? Because you're, like, watching these women and they're so fucking talented, and you're watching them on your screen, and then you're standing there next to them and you're like, hey guys, I'm Alex. How did you eventually get out of the imposter syndrome that any rookie would potentially feel? Well, not all rookies, you're right. Some are like, I'm literally hot shit, bitch, watch out.
How did you, good for them.
Yes. How did you work through imposter syndrome?
I don't know. Sometimes I still feel like I'm living through that. Like, I still feel like sometimes, you know, even just a few years ago, showing up and being, like, the starter or maybe the star player, whatever it might be, I still feel like I would show up and be like, I know I belong and I know I deserve to be here and I know I've worked for this, but it still feels a little weird. Like, it still feels like weird to, like, know that millions of people are watching me play, or that this, like, stadium is coming, like, these 60,000 people are coming to watch us play. And I'm supposed to be scoring the goals, you know? So I don't know if you ever get over it, but you just get used to it. Like, you just, like, eventually it's rinse and repeat, and you get used to it, I guess.
Do you feel like there was a point in your career where you had a shift in your confidence level? Like, I get the imposter syndrome is weird because it's like, who would get used to millions of people tuning in these huge moments in your career? But, like, did your confidence ever be like, okay, I'm feeling better about myself and my game and, like, who I am in this league?
Yeah, I think in 2015, we won the World Cup, and I felt like it was like, that was the first time in a long time we had won the World Cup. And we felt like, okay, we want to celebrate and we want to party, but we still have to be, like, buttoned up, and we still have to be, like, girls. We have to be nice women where we have to say the right thing. You can't curse. You can't, like, you don't want to be seen, like, drinking, God forbid, smoking a cigar when you celebrate. Like, no, that doesn't happen. Then fast forward to 2019, and we were, like, owning our shit. We were like, yeah, we're the best. We're going to win. We filed an equal pay lawsuit against U.S. Soccer. We know that winning this is going to help our case, and we are the best. And so we, like, carried that, like, confidence in a way that I feel like women don't usually feel comfortable being able to do so, because we've always been suppressed. Like, no, just be a nice lady, shut up. And we were like, no, and we're going to celebrate, and we're going to do that with alcohol. We're going to do that with parties. We're going to do that with loud music. We're going to do that with saying whatever the F we want. And we did. And I feel like that was the moment that I was like, oh, like, I can be a badass out on the field, and I can celebrate my wins, but I could just be whatever I want it to be. And I feel like it was just, like, this eye opener in a way that almost was, like, opposite of what I, like, grew up knowing and being told what I needed to do, and being, like, told I needed to be grateful for what I had.
I agree. I remember that moment where you guys win and we see these women, like, acting what some people would assume is more like men. And it's like, oh my God, they have an alcoholic beverage in their hand. And they're like, yeah, we just fucking won. Like, can't we celebrate? But I can't help but attribute that to like, I bet it would be so much harder if it had been a solo sport. I think there was something that all of you on this rise and having this huge win and having this momentum and this camaraderie, all of you as women finally were looking around being like, you guys, we're so fucking good. We deserve this. Like, how are we not being able to enjoy what we've worked so hard for and for our country for? And I think that's such a testament to what we're saying is like, look at the power of when women can actually come together and look around and be like, we actually don't all have to compete. We're here together and let's use all of our voices to actually make a difference for all the younger generations, which you guys did, which I want to get to now. Let's talk about the double standards because this is like a perfect transition because it's like, oh my God, where do we even start? Obviously, women in sports are held to a much, 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 much higher standard than men, right? Like female athletes are expected to just be the most incredible, perfect role model for the young girls and to act polite and
all
to be
about
grateful.
Why do you do it? Do you do it for the young girls? You do it to be a role model? Like, is that why you play soccer? Like, you want like to inspire the next generation? It's always how many questions have I gotten like just phrased like that?
When do you think at a point in your career when you started to go professional, did you feel, or is there an example where you were like, oh my God, I'm really experiencing this overwhelming pressure to be a role model, not just a soccer player?
During the Olympics in 2012, I gained a starting spot earlier that year, and then scoring goals and winning the Olympics in 2012, I feel like I kind of shot up to like a fame that we didn't have in women's soccer for many years since Mia. And so that was the moment that I felt like, okay, I really need to watch what I'm saying, watch what I'm doing. I need to make sure that I'm like carrying myself in a good way and I'm representing myself, my team, my country, my family in a positive way. Like it was almost like thinking through things, and in a lot of ways, like my personality, like I almost went inside of myself a little bit more, and I was still very much myself around my family and my boyfriend, my husband now, my boyfriend at the time. But I felt like I couldn't necessarily like show everybody who I was or like have that personality all the time, because I didn't really want to be like criticized in that way. I didn't want to be told that I wasn't being a good role model for young girls. So I kind of just like showed people what they wanted to see and hear, and then behind closed door, like I was myself.
When you say that, do you think if you went back, you would change anything?
I think if I like was going through my professional career and like becoming that like 18, 20, 22-year-old like professional athlete now, I think standards have shifted a little bit. So I think it would be a little bit different. And I think it would have shaped me differently in a way of feeling a little more confident to be like myself, even when the cameras were on. But at the time, I feel like it was in a lot of ways like women's sports didn't really have a platform. We were really fighting to like get any access, like for our games to be broadcasted, for more than 3,000 people to be coming to our games at the time. So it was like do anything and everything to help this sport grow. And that means like how you carry yourself all day, every day.
It's exhausting.
It's really fucking exhausting.
Did you have people in your ear giving you feedback and advice, or were you navigating this and kind of figuring out how to move and be a role model publicly on your own?
Well, I was both navigating it through my teammates and like my agent and my family, but I was also seeing like how maybe some of my teammates who reacted in a different way, who maybe brought their egos publicly or, had just not even, it's hard to say ego, just like confidence, who brought them their full selves to the public, like were seen as in a negative way. And so I was like, well, I don't know that I want to have that much criticism on me at such a young age. So just like get in line and kind of do what you're told and like put on a happy face and like take like after games, I would literally be signing autographs and taking photos for like an hour. You don't see male athletes doing that. Like they wouldn't stop for a photo after a game. Like they're going to the locker room, they're showering, they're getting home and they're having a beer or whatever they're drinking. But for me, I was like, that was what we had to do. We had to like show everyone that like every single person in that stadium mattered, that we were doing the most to grow our sport, that we were being a good role model,
and it's like also hearing you say that, I agree. It's like there's so many moments where, of course, like you're so grateful. You want to sign an autograph, you want to smile and take a picture, but it's the fact that it is this like prerequisite that you are expected, and anything less than perfect, then you're probably a bitch, or you have some type of problem and you're an egomaniac and you're an asshole, and oh, Alex Morgan isn't even a nice person. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, just because I like created a little bit of a boundary for myself because I just played a 90-minute game and now I just want to like quickly go rinse off and like not take sweaty pictures for an hour. Yeah, that's going to be a different double standard than men.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you are still doing interviews like this, though, a part of younger Alex Morgan, like the superstar, but also the role model, like you have to fight against not leaning into that like PR side of yourself because you trained yourself for so many years?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it is definitely like, okay, it's okay to like open up. It's okay to share things and be vulnerable. Whereas for so long it was like, just say the right thing, like do something that makes it you look like in a positive way as a representation of so many people. So it is changing your mindset a little.
I have to commend you though. I think it was the right decision back in the day. Like, I don't know if I would have changed anything because I agree with you. I don't think the world was ready in the way that now women in sports are slowly able through social media also to have control of their narrative. You were completely beholden.
We're able to have control of our narrative because like we have people like you able to talk about this on TV. Like it was only men talking about that back then. So they were forming the narrative. The reporters, there was mostly, I would look out, I would be at a press conference on the table, I'd be looking out, it'd be mostly men. Now it's like, it really is split. In a lot of ways, a lot more women have entered into sports.
That's a good point.
In a great way.
2019 World Cup, I have to talk about the tea. You celebrated a goal against England by pretending to sip tea, and the internet and the news.
Oh, all of Britain hated me.
Alex, why do you think people, what did you do? You literally were just like sipping tea.
Well, I scored.
Right. Yes, you did, sweetie. Yes, you did. Don't leave that out. You scored and you celebrated.
I celebrated and I went over and I sipped some tea in front of the world and Britain as we beat them. Yes, I did that. And then they came after me with vengeance. And I was like, I just wanted to celebrate. I never celebrate. I never, ever had a celebration planned. Ever. Look up any other celebration. You will not find one more. I had one celebration my whole life. It's the tea. And people wanted to kill me over it.
Wait. Take me back to that moment. You go and you do this. In that moment, you were just like reacting and it felt right and you didn't plan it, whatever.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea?
None.
And then when did you find out the amount of backlash? Like immediately after the game?
Oh my God, it just built. Like after the game, the next day, 2 days later, 3 days later, like I had to like change. I had to be like, I don't know. It was off the cuff. It had nothing to do with Britain and how you guys like tea. It was like, I was like, this is kind of crazy. Can you guys stop coming after me?
Meanwhile, again, I'm sorry, but we have to do it. Like, can we pull up every absolutely fucking insane dance, gesture, weird shit that guys have done?
The gestures. Yeah, we know.
But I
sipped tea.
You're like, I took a fucking sip of tea, and they're like, you're dead. Meanwhile, men are doing some crazy shit at that, like, on the end zone, and people are like, gorgeous.
That's my player.
Yeah, that's my man. Damn, he's so cool. I'm so
buy his
hot.
Jersey because of that.
Meanwhile, they're like, you're canceled because of that. smile, and just go back to the fucking line and get ready.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
I'm still waiting for my tea sponsorship.
Oh my God. Honestly, lip didn't come through. Imagine.
I know.
Wait, that actually is like genius. They should do it right now. Come on, guys. You still can do it. There's still time. What message do you think it sends when we expect female athletes to be overly humble and to essentially downplay their success?
Not a great one. But again, men have been in front of the narrative the whole time. So now I just feel like things have changed. Like, I just love when I see an 18-year-old, when I see Trinity Rodman, like, showing up and being like, this is me. Take it or leave it. Like, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about the double standards of how did you feel when a large part of the conversation at times throughout your career was about your looks?
Oh, man. I mean, it was, yeah. You know, I can't complain. I got a lot of opportunities because of it. But it was like sometimes really, it was like, it was cringy. Like, I would go on the internet and be like, this is weird. This is really weird.
What do you remember sticking out to you of like just some comments that you remember?
Well, I don't know. It was like going to an autograph signing and just having a guy come up with like all of my swimsuit pictures and being like, oh, I want to just add to the collection in my man cave. And I'm like, TMI, like, I don't care. Ew. I don't care. Don't tell me. Don't tell me what you're doing with this. Please. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's so crazy because it's like you were one of the best on the field. And then in so many moments, like when I was researching for this, I was reading through so many moments, like in 2015, going into the World Cup semifinals, FIFA posted an article calling you a talented goal scorer with a style that is very easy on the eye and good looks to match. And it's like, wait, what? And then there was like a thing that like I remember reading that was all about how like your bronzed body, like I'm like, what in the fuck is happening?
It's like our talents aren't good enough. They got to like find something for clickbait. I don't know.
And I remember reading, it was one, I think for the Olympics, where someone was saying like half of it is like, yeah, to go see the women on the field. And then the other fun part of watching the game is to decide like who's the most good looking on the field.
Listen, I don't care why you buy the ticket to go to the game. As long as you're buying the ticket, whatever. Like, you can think whatever you want to think. I don't want to know your thoughts. You come to the game, you buy the ticket, you buy the jersey. Great. I'm going to get a piece of that. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah. It's kind of how you have to think, right?
It's how you have to think.
When in private moments with your husband or your family, like, did you ever open up about how it was impacting you? Like, were you ever like embarrassed showing up to the field because people are treating you different than some of your teammates? Were you ever self-conscious more? I know that would be confusing to people, but when people are focusing so much on your looks, are you feeling like you have to have your hair perfect and your makeup perfect? Like, how did it impact you personally?
Well, I mean, I honestly like dealt with a lot of acne in my career or just like in my life. Actually, it literally just cleared up when I stopped playing because I stopped like lathering with sunscreen like every 30 minutes on my face and putting lots of makeup on and sweating and everything. Like, suddenly, I mean, your face just clears up when you're like not throwing shit on it all day, every day in the sun. So yeah, I was super self-conscious because I knew in a lot of ways, like a lot of the conversation was about my looks. But also, I mean, I did like Sports Illustrated swimsuit. I've done things where it does like put my looks or my body on display, and I'm fully aware of that as well. But yeah, it got weird sometimes. But I think again, like I had this mentality where I just never wanted to overanalyze something. Like, I didn't want to think through really why someone was over fixating on my looks, or like why there was a dumb headline about not how many goals I scored, but how high my pony was and how, I don't know, how nice my eyelashes looked or whatever it might be.
What was the experience like with your teammates?
For the most part, it was fine. I mean, like most of my teammates were really, like, we were all super supportive of each other. I'd say there was like one or two teammates that were like, well, I don't wear makeup like some of my teammates, and so I don't really try to like put myself out there like that, you know, and they would say a comment like that and you're like, really? Like, did you have to go there? So you just kind of brush it off and you're like, okay, I fully am aware we don't all have to be best friends. We don't even have to like each other. We just have to play together.
You have to have a mutual respect when you're playing, where it's like each woman is going to do their own thing. Let's support each other, whether you want to glam up or not. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
All you should care about is that I'm going to play well. Bye.
Literally, that's it.
I remember when you announced your pregnancy and people immediately were freaking the fuck out. Alex, they were like, oh my God.
So was I.
Well, yeah. But we're going to get to that. Yeah, you're like, oh, hello. Everyone was like, what is this going to do to her body? What is this going to do for her ability to play the sport? Like, talk to me about your reaction. Like you just said, pregnancy, and then also your reaction to the public's reaction to your pregnancy.
So when I got pregnant with my first, Charlie, this was when I was 29. So like height of my career. Now, I mean, players like Mal Swanson and Sophia Smith, Sophia Wilson are pregnant and they're like 24, 28. Like, I think that's how old they are.
Yeah.
Literally so much career ahead of them. And it's so amazing that they're able to do both, have a family, be moms and play and have a very long career. But at the time, it was not so common. So yeah, people were definitely like, how could she do this? I can't like, she's never going to get back to where she was before. I mean, not even getting into like my looks, but just like the talent and being able to like play at the level again. And I myself had a little bit of fear for that before I got pregnant. And once I got pregnant, I was in go mode. I was like, no, I'm going to get back to playing. I'm going to have my daughter. I'm going to show my daughter the world and it's going to be great. And I'm going to like do everything I set my mind to and want to accomplish after like starting a family. But yeah, it was not like the happy, like, congrats and we can't wait like for you to have your baby and get back out on the field type reception that I initially thought it would be.
Right. It was kind of like, what are you doing?
It was like, why would you choose that over your career? Like, you are in the height of your career.
And talk to me about your decision to start a family at that point in the middle of your career.
It goes back to honestly like owning who we were in 2019. Like, we won and we were like, this is us, take it or leave it. And I always wanted to be a mom. And honestly, like the confidence that I had growing through that year, between the lawsuit, between winning the World Cup, scoring many goals, getting like the silver boot in the World Cup, like I felt really good about myself. And after that, I was like, I've done everything I've wanted to do. I'm not done playing soccer, but I have been able to accomplish everything I've wanted to. Now it's my turn in life to do what I want to do. Like, and so it was the right time for me.
And that's all that matters. And I think the difficulty of being someone that represents the country in these moments is a lot of people feel like they then should have a say on you and your life and all these things. And meanwhile, which we're going to get to, you're like, oh, maybe if I was even being treated well, but guys, like, let's calm down. You all care about us, which I now being involved in the league, I'm like, it's like we have to stop just pretending it's every 4 years. But it's like for you guys, it's like people caring about women's sports for the Olympics or the World Cup. And then it's like they act like they have a hold over your life, but it's like, this is my life 24/7. You guys are getting to see me in these big moments, but I'm putting my body on the line throughout the whole year. And like, I want to do something for myself, and that's okay. But it is crazy that people make you feel like, no, this should be a joint decision of the country. Put it on your Instagram story and let's all do a poll if Alex is allowed to have a kid or not. Like, that's literally how crazy people are. They think that they deserve a say in your life.
Yeah. It is a really private thing to get pregnant and then to share your pregnancy, not only with your friends and family, but like with your teammates in the world. So it was a really scary moment. Like, I was like going to the doctor's appointment, like really secretively. And this, having conflicted emotions, like I'm so excited, but also like I can't have one person see me going into this doctor, or else like it's going to blow up on the internet, or like I don't know who I can tell without like sharing this really private information that I don't want shared. So just going through my club team and the NWSL Orlando at the time and the national team, it was really scary, like treading that while also like it supposed to be being like one of the most happiest moments of my life too.
Right. And you're navigating it in fear and secrecy a little bit.
Oh yeah. Which I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of women deal with that as well.
Yes. When you have your child and you go back to playing, talk to me about navigating being a mother and also being a professional athlete, and how were you navigating those first few years?
It was not easy. Let me rephrase that. It was very difficult. Because there was like no rules. There was no standard for moms like in the NWSL or even on the national team. Like I had to draft up an agreement with the general manager at Orlando, like that my daughter could travel with me and a childcare provider, like a nanny, and also that they could come into team meals. Like they pushed back on like coming into the meal room. I'm like, no, I need my daughter to like, she needs to be with me. Or like going in the locker room. It's like, no, my daughter's going to come with me into the locker room and she can go like to the suite or whatever when I'm ready for her to go. Or even like having a ticket to a suite, not like in the stands with fans. Like, no, I'm not having my 1-year-old daughter like in the stands with fans asking for a photo of my 1-year-old. That's weird. So it was just like, it was writing all these rules that had never been written before. And I was like, oh my God, I've seen players have kids before in soccer and on the national team. How did they do this with even less like resources and support than I do? So it was interesting because I was like being pulled in a million directions, and I was trying to be a great mom and I was trying to be a great soccer player, but I was also now having to like write new rules and advocate for all moms in the future in soccer. And so it was just like a lot at once. So
just a little bit, just a little bit at once.
You can tell like I'm like really passionate about this subject.
Well, as you should be, because it's like when you started to live it again, Alex, I feel like there were so many moments in your career where it was kind of thrust upon you to like be the face of these moments. And you're not even sitting here being like, I didn't want to be. It definitely wasn't something you were asking for. It does show your inner strength that like in all of these moments, you were able to be like, I've never done this before. I have no one basically that can kind of like guide me, unless the first conversation we had at the beginning of this is like your rise to fame and this like intense pressure that was put on you for your looks and your game and all of it. I guess you could have called Mia, but there's like 1 or 2, 3 women in the world that you could be calling to ask this. Then you're going through the mom thing, realizing you are one of these star players who has a little bit more privilege than maybe some of the other women.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, I read somewhere where you were like, I'm in the back of the plane with my daughter on my lap and we're going to like the Olympics or something. Like, what happened with that?
There's been many situations like that, but definitely my daughter was, so I had just got traded to San Diego. I was so excited about playing for San Diego in the NWSL, and this was like 3 years ago. And my daughter was 1.5 I think. So a 1.5-year-old, is running around. They're very active. They're not an infant. Like they weigh like 25, 30 pounds, maybe more. And I got like on the bus and I got a ticket for my seat. And it was like 27B. And I got one ticket. And I was like, I have my daughter with me. They're like, yeah, well, she's under 2. So she could sit on your lap. And I was like, I'm 27B this is like 3 years ago, with my 1.5-year-old on my lap, and we're going from San Diego to New York. Excuse me? I was like, and back to the privilege thing, I said, I'm sorry, I cannot go on this trip if you don't get a seat for my daughter. This is not happening. This is not, I will walk off this bus. And they got me a ticket for my daughter. And I feel fortunate to be in that situation, to be able to have said that and set then a standard across the league for now it being a child 1 and over having their own seat. I feel like a child should have their own seat regardless. It doesn't matter if they're like 2 months old.
I agree with you, Alex.
You bring the car seat and you put it in the seat so we can get off of the plane and go play our sport and go run around without our legs going numb. So there was a lot of challenges to work through, a lot of barriers to break down.
But it's incredible, like, that you got, again, you speaking up in that moment now is going to change women's lives in the future in this league. And I'm going to get there because I know now, being involved, there's so much change that is happening in the NWSL, which is amazing.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. But I do want to first get to equal pay. Okay, girl. So I realize I have like also a pretty young audience that also tunes in. So I want you to kind of explain this. So obviously one of the most forever legendary things that you did in your entire career, we're talking about World Cups and we're talking about Olympics and we're talking about all the things, is you advocating for and achieving equal pay. And for my listeners who may not be as familiar, can you talk about what led you and your teammates to sue the U.S. Soccer Federation for equal pay?
Yes, we sued our employer in 2019, 3 months before we went to the World Cup. So this started back in 2015. We won the World Cup. First time in 16 years. All of a sudden had like sold out stadiums. We were seeing revenue. We were generating revenue for U.S. Soccer like never before. We were getting sponsors coming to U.S. Soccer saying we want to work with the women. U.S. Soccer doesn't do sponsors for only the women's or men's team. They bundle them together. U.S. Soccer is like one umbrella. Sponsors come and they get everything. So we were seeing this. The books are open. U.S. Soccer Federation is like a company. In order, you can see the taxes you can see the returns at the end of the year. So you're like, okay, I know what you're making. I know what we're generating. This isn't adding up. So 2016 comes around, we file a motion with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And it goes nowhere. Like it sits, 3 years go by. And we know that we are bringing money into U.S. Soccer. However, we are getting paid, for example, like per game, $1,500 for a win, like 0 for a tie, 0 for a loss. The men, I'm throwing this out there, but I think it's almost accurate, $12,000 for a win. Like it was like astronomically different. Like at the end of the year, we were making, if you played in every single game, you're making maybe like 85, 90,000. Men, if they were to play the same amount of games as us, win the same amount of times as us, like $400,000+. Like it was so different. There was such a gap that we were like, and then we were seeing what we were generating, like the revenue we were generating for them. And we're like, this doesn't make sense in terms of what we're bringing in, but also we're doing the same job for the same company as the men, but getting paid vastly different and getting treated vastly different. We're sitting in 27B and the men are in 2A. So we're like, this is not adding up at all. And like, don't get me started also on FIFA and how we had to also, and they've come a long way, but back in 2015, there was a lot of challenges also on that front. So we went to US Soccer and we filed a lawsuit. We sued them. And
was it all of you? How many of?
It was every single current player except for one. Yeah. Everyone. And that was the only reason we actually got to where we are today in achieving equal pay back in 2022, plus back pay, plus millions of dollars of back pay, was because of us 25, 30 players getting on calls with the lawyers every week, doing depositions, doing multiple failed settlements in Chicago, in New York, like taking our own time to fly to New York to hear them bullshit us time and time again.
When you guys decided to do this, did you all deliberate beforehand? Like, what are the risks? And like,
we did.
Okay,
yeah.
so you guys were
like,
not.
The risk was like, you could be cut. The risk was like, you might not have a future in soccer. The risks were like big. I mean, they were like, the media can turn against you and you can lose your sponsorships. You can which by the way, sponsorships were like doing like the work off of the field for a lot of us was in a lot of ways for me, especially, it was like 90 to 95% of my annual income. Like soccer was like 5 to 10% of my annual income, but I spent like 90 to 95% of my time on it.
Talk to me about once this went public, because I know everyone was like, you guys, one of your biggest fears was the public, right? And I know that it was a little divided. Like, I think a lot of people publicly were in support, but then there were definitely people that were vocal being like, no, you guys are being greedy. Like, This is not, you guys shouldn't be doing this. What do you remember feeling when you started to hear these negative reactions?
I was really saddened, but I wasn't like surprised. I remember specifically going to the US Soccer annual board because I was on the athletes council, and you get a chance to like speak at the end if you want. There's a microphone, like a hot mic. And one of the board members from another board, it's like there's like 300 people in the room. He gets on the mic and he goes, "Our women's team is so disappointing. They disgust me. They don't deserve to be paid what they're asking for. They don't even deserve what they're getting now." He goes on and on for 5 minutes. And after, you hear people in the room clapping, like at the US Soccer annual board meeting. And us athletes were mortified, like embarrassed on his behalf, but also like, this is who's making the decisions in this room. Okay, we have a lot of work to do.
And how fucking scary you're all sitting there. And people are just clapping.
This is after we won back-to-back World Cups.
I know, and I'm sorry.
After, like, they're fully aware of the books, too. Like, what's going on with the finances.
I was going to say, no shade, but I guess this is shade. Like, you guys were objectively so much fucking better than the men. The men's team was sucking ass. You guys were winning everything. And I think everyone's probably like, what is happening? Like, how are they? It's one thing if people are even trying in their fucked up brains to be like, the men are getting paid more because they're doing better in their league or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. You guys are doing the same job and you're having insane income and the men are getting all of these profits and you guys are getting chump change. Like, it made
that's what I thought. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because
we're on the same page here.
I think people with at least.
Do you know what US Soccer said?
What?
Okay. Their main statement, we had to submit court documents, like basically saying why we deserve equal pay, and US Soccer saying why we didn't.
Yep.
Their main argument was that the man bears more responsibility because what was it? They bear more responsibility because they are inherently faster and stronger. Because it takes more strength and speed by a man, and so the responsibility is greater. So basically saying like women are inherently inferior. That's that. We dragged them. They retracted that statement later.
They're like, we're so fucking embarrassing. We're sorry. Jesus Christ. But that's what's so fucking scary is people genuinely believe this.
They had multiple
shit.
eyes on that before they submitted that. And they thought that that was the right thing to say. Like, yeah, we believe this. Men are superior because of their muscles. Like, I'm sorry, what?
While you're in the midst of this, I can't. Like, I'm like, where do I even go from there?
Like, you know, when
just
you're really
pause.
uncomfortable and you just laugh because
you're just like, this is...
I don't know what else to do with my face.
No, literally. Like, we're laughing and it's pathetic and it's so fucking sad, though, because it's like women's sports is such a good representation of how women are not equal in this fucking country.
Yeah. But hey, we're getting there.
That's where we're getting there. Also, just so you guys know, as you're listening, we're getting there because it actually is going to get better. I know we're in the trenches right now and we're like, fuck this shit, but we're getting there because it does get better. Okay. Talk to me about the headspace, I do think, which is interesting to know as an athlete of like, you're in this legal battle for 6 years, but you're still having to play for the organization that you're suing.
Yeah.
What was that mentally like, showing up every day being like,
a mind fuck for sure. Like it was like, hey Alex, like USR come to me, can you do this interview, can you do this feature ball? And I'm like thinking to myself, why would I do anything for you guys? But then I'm thinking to myself, well, if we settle, if I win this lawsuit, then you know we are going to be besties again, and eventually I do want you to pay me more. So like, do I go the extra mile for you? We had so many really heated conversations with the president of US Soccer, who had to step down because of very poor decisions that he made, very poor comments that he made. I mean, the amount of times I had to wake up at 2:15 a.m. on the West Coast to do a hit on TV to talk about the lawsuit. Countless. And this is like, then you wake up at 2:15, you do the hair and makeup, you go on TV, you do like the 6-minute hit with Robin Roberts, and then you go home and you wash your makeup off and you go to training, and then you're exhausted. And you're like, I just feel like I worked a full day, but oh yeah, I forgot I'm not getting paid enough at all for what I'm doing.
Talk to me about when you guys win this lawsuit and like realizing that you had achieved equal pay. Where were you and what did it mean to you?
It meant everything. So US Soccer hired Cindy Parlow-Cone, who was a women's national team player, scored many goals, very good player. She became US Soccer president. Also, that was a voluntary position. Like, you did not get paid to do that. So when she came in charge of that, we were like, okay, we got one on the inside. We got this. Still got to convince that board, but we got this. And when we settled and achieved equal pay and millions, over $20 million back pay, I was holding my daughter when we signed it. My daughter was 3 years old, 2.5, 3 years old. And it was a really special moment because it was, I mean, you got to think like over 500 hours of our own time put into something that like you never knew if it was going to ever happen. Like you didn't know how you were going to be seen as, you didn't know if this was going to work out, you didn't know like what kind of effect this could possibly even have in sports.
And the emotional toll that I can imagine it took on you. Also, you knowing like, I'm not someone that's probably going to see the most benefits from this because I'm closer to being on my way out of this league.
Yeah.
But knowing that you did this and you fought this fight because now it's going to impact so many women now to come to this league is incredible that you guys did this. I remember when I decided to get involved with the NWSL, I think that was one of like my first conversations that I had with the current commissioner, Jessica Berman. I remember I sat with her in New York City and I had a meeting with her, and I had like opportunities to put my hydration drink with like, you know, in certain areas. And I was like, I want soccer, but like, what are we doing for these women and how is this changing? And I will tell you, almost one of the single-handed reasons that I decided to sign that contract with the NWSL is because of that woman. She is the commissioner. The way that she's talking about, like, she's owning, like, I cannot believe what has happened in the past. And I come from the male sports side. And my goal in my literal life right now, and I see her sacrificing her time with her family and everything, as all the other athletes are doing, is like, I'm going to make change. And I know it's not going to happen overnight. And I remember she had told me, she's like, in my office, I have framed burn it, when Rapinoe literally tweeted and was like, fucking burn it. Like, she's like, I look at that every single day and I'm like, I am going to work my ass off to support and protect these women. And to me, that is also a product of you and all the women who stood there, because it's like, now every single time we chip away at this, it's not going to change overnight, but it's getting better. So as fucked up as all this was, thank you for all the work that you did, because now all these women who are playing right now wouldn't have had the rights that they do. And I know they still are probably want to fight for more things, but you guys got the ball rolling in a way that is going to change generationally women's sports.
Yeah, honestly, thank you. Just taking ownership is so important, and like holding yourself accountable and knowing that like we all have a part to play, and also we likely won't reap the benefits of what we're fighting for, but the hope is that our kids will. Like, my hope is my daughter knows nothing other than equal. She knows nothing other than having as much access to a soccer field, to the best like coaches, to the best opportunities, because I played some small part in it. I look at these young players coming into the NWSL and I'm like, yeah, you have that confidence. Yeah, you walk in there proudly and you ask for what you deserve. Because in a lot of ways, like, that's what we fought for, but we didn't have that opportunity. I mean, players' first contracts, the first year of the NWSL that I played in, dating myself, was $6,000. Not a month, for the season. $6,000 to play in the NWSL for the season. Players are getting over $500,000 now to play, and maybe in 3 years, $1 million, and maybe in 3 more years, $5 million. Who knows? It started with those players.
It's crazy to think about. I also just couldn't help but think, as you're saying that, how many women listen to this show. And it's like, this doesn't have to just be applicable to sports. I think sometimes when you as a woman want to try to create change, whether it's at your job or socially or whatever it be, like, it can feel really disorienting because you're essentially most of the time the only woman in the room. Like, even although we're talking about women's sports, you're like, all of the people we're in the room with are these men that are making these decisions, right? And so I think this is one of the most concrete, incredible examples of, yes, you may not completely reap the benefits of the fight that you go towards to get more equality for women in your sector of wherever you are in life. But this is a perfect example. Your daughter now, if she decides to go and play, she is going to have a better life because of you. And how fucking cool is that?
And hopefully in or out of sport.
Yeah. Let's talk about your retirement. You said that you had an epiphany talking to your husband one night that this was what needed to happen.
Over some red wine.
Your teeth are stained. You're like, babe, it's over. It's like, go brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have some wine. What is this conversation like?
It was just like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to have more babies. I'm ready to hang up the boots. I'm ready to have my weekends free. And I feel like I did anything and everything I could have ever dreamed of and beyond in soccer. There's like nothing left that I feel like I need to accomplish.
What was the hardest part of making the decision?
The hardest part was telling people. It wasn't making the decision. Honestly, once I made the decision, it was like the biggest weight off of my shoulders. I just like came to training. No one knew at this time. This was March or April, and I didn't retire till September. I came to training like just like happy and like this is my, I don't know, my first soccer game in 2025, 2020, what was it? What year are we in? Jesus. But it was just like a lightness that I hadn't had for years. I think just like carrying not only the pressure that I had on myself, but also the weight of like being in a way like the face of the league and a way like carrying myself in a positive way, all day, every day in front of cameras, whatever it may be. Like I just feel like it was a lot, and I didn't know until I made the decision that then I was like, there's this lightness to me. What is this?
And I was gonna say, like, aren't you like, isn't your body exhausted?
Yeah, exhausted. You get older and you're like, oh shit, I have these 18-year-old teammates and I cannot keep up. It's time.
Where you're like, I'm in pain. Like, I gotta go. Like, you deserve to relax. You deserve.
Thank you. I think so too.
You do, Alex. Did you ask any one of your like former teammates for any advice on like how to approach announcing a retirement, or did you just like let it rip on your own?
I actually looked up a lot of retirement like announcements. I saw Abby's. I had a front row view of Pino's because hers was right before the World Cup in 23, and she was retiring at the end of the year. So I like saw the way a lot of people announced their retirement and did their official like video or whatever it may be. And I just was like, yeah, I want to just like speak directly to everyone and I want to lay it all out there. And then, surprise, I got pregnant. So retirement happened a little bit quicker.
I know. I love that you're like, oh, by the way, also retiring and I'm pregnant.
That was not that was a surprise for sure. Yep, I'm one of those. I was like, I won't get pregnant. I got pregnant. Boom. Oh my God.
But what a nice thing to then look forward to. You're like, peace out. And I have another one on the way.
It was extremely stressful for like 2 weeks. I was actually talking with my manager and I was like, okay. Or they were like, we have this great runway to retirement and like your announcement, and then you're gonna get your flowers and then this and then that. And I'm thinking to myself like, shit, I really gotta tell them that my time's coming.
Oh my God.
So yeah, there was supposed to be a call about figuring out the next 3 months, and I was like, no, I actually am coming up on 3 months pregnant and I need to retire like this weekend. Like, I'm 3 months pregnant and I can't do it anymore. I can't hide it. I can't play. I can't do it.
Your jersey is officially being retired. Congratulations. I mean,
Thanks.
Epic in a lot of ways, but like, how do you feel about it?
So good. I just never even thought that was a possibility, I guess. You see male athletes get their jersey retired. But I don't know, as a female athlete, there goes the double standard again. You just don't like think that will happen to me because I'm a female athlete. So it's incredible. It's a proud moment for me. And now having my son and my daughter and be able to go out on the field and wave to everybody and have 2 kids and a family and just be really happy and at peace where I left the game.
It's incredible.
And now be an investor in the team.
I know. I was going to say that
I'm getting my jersey retired from. Yeah.
Talk to me about the decision to invest in San Diego.
Well, you did your research as well with Unwell and where to bring it, and I did mine as well. I gave everything to this league since the very start. I was I don't even know if there might be 1 or 2 more players currently playing that played in the league back in 2013 when it first started, when there was nothing, when there were no showers after a game in a locker room.
God. You're like, I am OG, even a locker room. Don't forget it.
Yeah,
okay?
Don't forget it. But I'm really proud of where the league has come, and I'm proud of what the small or maybe not, I don't know, of the part I partook in that, in creating a league that is sustainable, that can create stars, global stars, that is viewed over multiple platforms weekly. That also wasn't the case in 2013.
No, it
Couldn't
was not.
barely get a tweet back then. So I'm just, I wanted to be able to invest back in the league at the team level, and to be in San Diego and raise my kids there and have them have also like some ownership over an affiliation with the team, more than just like mom played there. We go to the games now. My daughter was like jumping up and down with her posters. She's waving at all of the players, like trying to get their attention, them like waving back to her. It's so great.
It's so cool to hear you talk about, getting invested now in the league in a different way than being a player, but basically being like part of the ownership. And I would just like want to say, because I this year obviously have gone to more NWSL games now with my partnership with them, and like to women listening, I think when you're in high school, when you're in college, and when you're in your 20s, 30s, and so on, like I think a lot of times, especially with social media, we feel like, where is my social life, and where can I meet people, and where can I get out and actually be in physical with other women that are like-minded? And now every single NWSL game that I've gone to, I, number one, have met actually some of my heroes. Like when I met Brandi Chastain the other month, I was like, okay, well, young Alex actually is like alive inside right now and is thriving and is crying. And so if you were ever a soccer fan, there's always former players that their names and you can run into, and it's really cool. But then also the current players are so incredible, and their personalities you see online, which is fun to be able to follow them and then go and see them in real life. But I would say also for people that maybe aren't as sports oriented, the biggest draw was people go to have a nice time and meet people. And
it's a very welcoming environment.
It is.
But also really fun.
It is really fun. And I think, again, I know women, sometimes sports can be intimidating if you haven't gotten into sports. And I'm telling you, the easiest way into sports is through women's sports. And the NWSL, we just have so many cool things going on, and like giving away jerseys. And I know when we do Unwell pop-ups, like it's like fun activations that, I don't know, I hope that people look and invest more in women's sports, because not only are you investing in the players and just women and equality in general, but you're also investing in yourself, because you're going to meet women and you're going to make friends in your city or wherever you live. So don't overlook it. Get to these games. It's very fun. I had a great time.
Extremely fun. I mean, look at even all of the owners across the board. Like, I'm sorry, Natalie Portman?
No, like it's so sexy.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, yes, Natalie. Like, it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah. It's cool to see everyone investing. And I appreciate you though, Alex, because you have paved the way, like you said, since there were literally no showers. And now it's getting sexier, but then you've been there since the non-sexy days. Alex, I can't thank you enough for coming. I think like the conversation we had for women, especially right now, is like timely past sports of just like everything that's going on in the world. I think women need conversations like this to feel like they have something to look forward to. And I will be honest, I think it's like kind of rare that you get to sit down with a woman that can actually like roll out her portfolio and be like, this is what I advocated for, and this is literally what came of it. So to sit with you and be able to hopefully, one, I'm sure there's a lot of people learning about this story that maybe it didn't hit their news cycle when it all went down. I'm happy they're going to learn about it, and hopefully this inspires other women to be like, okay, wait, maybe like I am way stronger, and if I get some of my women together, we can actually change some shit around us. And if we did that today, we did our jobs, Alex. We don't need to juggle, honey. Okay. We don't need to pick up a soccer ball anymore. We can just talk about it and we can make change happen.
That's right. Thank you for having me on. You are so badass, and I love listening and watching you. You've built a fucking empire. So congrats.
Thank you. So have you. Oh my God. Done. You're amazing. Hello, Daddy Gang. Welcome back to another episode of Call Her Daddy. I am currently in the Unwell Studios in New York City. It is a Sunday, and it's actually very rainy and cloudy outside. So I'm channeling this gorgeous, cozy energy, sitting with you. I'm the bitch that like wants it to be fall even when summer starts, and I feel like it's now finally becoming fall. We're in September, so I'm happy.
Sunday morning, father's calling. Do 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 do. Every Sunday's Father's Day.
What the fuck? That was pretty good, right? I have something I want to do that's a little different today, which is I have been reading a lot of different articles and think pieces on Substack. If you guys don't know what Substack is, it's how I would describe it is a healthier, more feminized version of Reddit and Twitter. It's like a happy place for women, and people are kind and nice over there. So I've been loving it. And I found this one article that I saved that I kind of just wanted to read today with you guys and then dissect it a little bit and talk about it, because I think I really related to it when I read it, and I hope that you also do too. So the article is called The Art of Enjoying Your Own Company by this guy, Hassif. He has a lot of great articles. You can check him out. And basically, this entire article isn't about being okay alone. It's about learning to love it. So here we go. We grow up believing that happiness is something shared, that joy is incomplete unless someone is clapping for it beside you, that every outfit, every meal, every plan is a little sad if no one else is involved in it. No one teaches us how to sit beside ourselves without flinching. No one teaches us that alone doesn't always mean missing. Sometimes it means returning to yourself. Enjoying your own company begins where people pleasing ends. When you stop molding your identity around who's watching, when you realize your value isn't being proven in conversations, plans, or relationships, it's already there. It's already you. And suddenly your own presence doesn't feel like a punishment. It starts to feel like a place you want to come home to. But let's not lie about it. This kind of ease doesn't happen naturally. It has to be built. And the truth is, at first, it sucks. Because the first stage of being alone is never joy, it's detox. But once you cross that terrifying threshold, you realize being with yourself was never the backup plan. It's the relationship you were always meant to come home to. It's the whole damn point. And from that place, everything changes. You stop reaching out just to be chosen. You stop shrinking just to be liked. You stop tolerating one-sided conversations, performative friendships, or breadcrumbed love. Not because you've become colder, but because you've become warmer to yourself. Enjoying your own company is not a chapter, it's a foundation. It's the garden you built so that when love arrives, it feels like sunlight, not oxygen. Oh my God, who are we on Call Her Daddy? If you showed me this clip 7 years ago, I would have been like, that has to be AI. That is AI, right? I'm not reading a gorgeous, essentially, poem that is uplifting our brains and our minds and our souls. Yeah, we're growing, Daddy Gang. I hope that was as inspiring as it was for me when I was reading it. I felt so connected to this piece because I think I have been feeling, and I go in waves, and I've always said this, and I know everyone watching does too. Like, you go in waves with how much you feel comfortable being alone. You also go in waves with how obsessed you are with social media and the scrolling culture and how much you're partaking in it. And I just think this piece, which I kind of really wanted to dissect, is like that concept of the detox that this person wrote about. I cannot agree more that it feels so lonely. Like, I think when people come on a podcast or write a book and they're like, you should want to be alone, you should love yourself, no one really talks about how uncomfortable it can really be in the beginning to lean into enjoying time alone, Daddy Gang. Again, because I think in this generation right now, it's actually kind of deemed weird if you're alone or you're not on your phone or you didn't see what they posted. What do you mean? How did you not see it? And it's like, to be kind of detached and present, it's a whole thing that no one talks about, and it's not glamorized. It's actually kind of poo-pooed because if you're not socially in the know, then what? You're a loser. And I think this detox is hard because you're essentially going against the grain of your family or your friends or your peers, and that feels taboo, right? But in reality, I think it's so fucking healthy. And I think sometimes it can drive you to feel small when you start to kind of like isolate yourself and you're like, okay, I'm not going to open social media. I'm not going to reach out to my friends. I'm going to have a Friday night alone. And I think why sometimes when you detox from feeling like you need to constantly be in the know with the friends and on social media and you can't just be alone, you feel so small in those moments because you're faced with your reality. When you're alone, you have to do something. And most of the time doing something in that silence is look inward. When you're watching a movie, even sometimes you'll self-reflect. How can I relate to that person, right? But then sometimes we just pick up our phone and we need double stimulation and it's like, no, pause. What is this eliciting for you? What is this piece of art making you feel? Like we have to start to think about how we're feeling about ourselves or what's been going on and what's our family trauma and are we in a fight with our friend and why did we get in a fight with our friend and is our boyfriend treating us like shit? And then this whirlwind of emotion hits us when we're alone and we're like, no. I'm going to go back on TikTok and scroll. This is too much. It's too much. And I think what I love that this person wrote is like this detox really includes sitting in silence with that uncomfortability and pushing through because the end result is actually you are building this most beautiful relationship with yourself where you're actually working on the one relationship that matters the most in your life, which is the one that you have with yourself. I also loved how they talked about, like how we feel this need to be perceived. And we live in this culture, understandably, that's like, pictures or it didn't happen. And we curate our perfect Instagram stories to prove to others that, we're not alone and we want to get validated. Or even if you are alone, you're not alone because you're going to get validated by all your followers that, oh my God, that picture of your matcha is so fucking cute. And it's like, drink the matcha maybe once out of 10 times. Let's start with that. And don't post it. Maybe it tasted actually better. Maybe you actually enjoyed your time more at the cafe than instead of having your head in your phone. I think I've realized, and especially with my job being on social media, sometimes it's like, retraining our brains, Daddy Gang, that we do not need this like constant external validation. How incredible when you start to just validate yourself. And I think a lot of times, again, we weren't taught this when we were younger. It's like, what do your friends think about you? What did your teacher say about you? What are your parents saying about you? Like, how many likes did it get? And it's like, how do you feel? How do you feel about yourself when you wake up in the morning? How do you feel about the walk you took or the book you read? And if you're constantly looking for people's commentary and their validation on it, you're essentially stripping yourself of any autonomy over your life. And when you start to be back in the driver's seat of your life, you start to realize you're such a more confident person. Yeah, maybe you have to go through the detox and trudge through and be like, holy fuck, I never spend alone time. I'm so disconnected from my emotions. I'm so addicted to my phone. Like the other day, I was so annoyed with myself. I was sitting in my bed and I had about 2 hours in between a bunch of meetings that I was having in New York City. And I have been exhausted, a good exhausted. Like I'm busy, I've got a bunch of meetings, but I was exhausted. And a part of me was like, I should take a nap. This is probably going to be way more advantageous for me and my soul and my career and the rest of my day if I just take a nap. And then I naturally, what do you think I did? I started scrolling instead, and I'm scrolling on TikTok, and I start to just have this like light tinge of anxiety, but I cannot stop scrolling. And obviously now having so many different conversations and getting through my job to have conversations with a lot of these different platforms, like this is the goal. They're literally putting like crack into this app so you can't get off of it. And I stop myself and I'm like, I just downloaded this book on my Kindle that I have been desperately wanting to start to read. And I'm putting it off because I'm like, I'm going to be on vacation soon. I'll just start it on vacation. But I was like, Alex, put your fucking phone down and open the book. I know once I open the physical book and I start reading this, I'm going to feel more fulfilled. I'm going to feel enlightened. I'm going to feel connected to myself. I'm going to escape into this world that's like going to bring things up for me. And I'm going to be learning something and I'm going to be interested and I'm not going to have that tinge of anxiety. And it took me, I'm not kidding you guys, a full hour where I was scrolling, going back and forth in my mind. And finally, I literally threw my phone across the bed. I picked up my Kindle and I started reading. I was in such a better mood. And then I fell asleep. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I would have, if I didn't put my phone down, I would have kept scrolling until my next meeting. And I just feel like I'm constantly going back and forth. And so I can imagine that's why I'm talking about it with you guys. We are constantly being drawn into this social media world 24/7 that is trying to get us to engage and engage and engage. And what it's really doing, and it's essentially making you dissociate from your own reality. I'm watching these girls and their perfect life and all the things and the juices and the Pilates and the workouts and the trips and all the things. And it's like, I know I have participated in that culture too, right? We're all posting these great things that we're doing, but most of the time we're consuming it by sitting in our fucking bed and feeling like shit. So I think that validation, I'm constantly trying to check myself to be like, I'm going to find nothing within this app right now. Put the fucking phone down, Alex, and read a goddamn book.
I can't believe I finally get to say this. Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Stouffer's. You don't even understand. Daddy gang, let me set the scene for you, okay? It is 6 o'clock. You get home after a long, stressful day of work and you feel like you can't make one more decision, right? You're burnt out, you're tired, but you realize you're starving. It is dinner time, but even just thinking about what to make feels so overwhelming, okay? The fridge is empty, obviously. The idea of cooking sounds miserable and all you want is something easy, delicious, and satisfying. That is where Stouffer's comes in hot, literally. When the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's, because that is literally what I did my entire childhood, okay? Dinner dread is real, and as someone who hates to cook, figuring out what to make or even just to like order, I don't need that stress in my life. I really don't. I cannot tell you how many times I've been so grateful to come home. I open the freezer, boom, Stouffer's, boom, which one do I want, okay? Whether it's a slow night or a night in with Matt, Stouffer's has been my favorite tasty meal since day one. Shout out to my mother. She and I would eat the mac and cheese. That was like a weekly staple. Their lasagna is actually incredible. Oh my God, the Swedish meatballs, my favorite. Oh my God, the turkey and mashed potatoes with gravy. Oh my God, the turkey tetrazzini, you guys. Stouffer's delivers big on flavor with great ingredients in every single frozen meal. For nearly 100 years, it has been the dependable choice for bringing friends and family together so we all can spend less time cooking and more time enjoying the moment. So skip the chaos, cancel the internal dinner debate, and solve dinner dread with Stouffer's. Shop now at your nearest retailer today. Stouffer's, I love you.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by White Claw. Stop letting plans die out in the group chat. Grab a White Claw and go make some memories. 100 calories in 12 glorious ounces, gluten-free, and the taste you know and love. I like to pick up a variety pack so that I can guarantee everyone can get their favorite flavors. I am personally through and through always a black cherry girl, but Matt loves the mango and Lauren's favorite is lime. So there's truly something for everyone. It's time to come out of hibernation and stop leaving everyone on red. My friends and I strictly drank White Claw for an entire girls' trip last year, and now I can't even smell sunscreen without being reminded of that trip. It was honestly the best time ever. An ice cold claw in your hand. That is peak life. Pick up a pack from your favorite local spa and grab life by the claw with your favorite flavor. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer works. Chicago, Illinois. Something I also was thinking about when I read this piece was kind of this PSA I almost now want to give. And it got me thinking that I would really urge anyone in the daddy gang listening, if you can, and I understand there's like a financial component to this, but if you have the ability at some point in your life before you are engaged and you go to get married, if you can live alone, it is one of the best gifts that you can truly ever give yourself. And again, I know there's a financial component and I want to be, mindful of that. I know sometimes that's not financially possible, but if at any point in your life before you get married, you have the capability to do that, I would highly, highly, highly recommend doing it. Because what I found when I lived alone, in my opinion, is that alone time at first, it can be disorienting. Like, I remember one of the first time I lived alone out of college was in New York City during the pandemic. And I was so excited to move into this place. And the beginning was so fun. I decorated it how I wanted it to. I would spend hours online on Pinterest kind of creating this world, romanticizing in the herbal, like the herbal tea and the incenses and the candles and the throw pillows and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be the cutest fucking chicest thing ever. And then you do it and you achieve your apartment and then you sit there and it's a Wednesday night and you don't have plans and you're not talking to anyone and you're alone. And the idea of this gorgeous apartment, I will be honest, I had a lot of moments where I was like, I'm kind of lonely. Like, I'm just sitting here and I'm kind of lonely. And the itch to just go and to hang out with someone or text someone or FaceTime someone always crept up on me. And I would do that. I would throw myself into that. And then I got to a point where I was living alone, where I actually was able to be like, I am going to do a self-care night and I'm not going to post about it. I'm going to be with myself in my amazing space that I've curated for myself and I'm going to enjoy it. And so I would take a bath. I would read a book. I would watch one of my favorite shows. I'm going to say the J word. I would journal. I would do these things. I would make myself dinner. And all of a sudden, slowly, I started to fall in love with myself. I know, as corny and cheesy as it sounds, I really would get excited for my alone nights. And I then started to get precious about it. Sometimes I would even cancel plans. And it wasn't because I was like too tired for work, just being like, I just need to be alone, but really I'm just going to scroll all night. No. It was because I had literally a date with myself where I was like, oh, I'm so doing my bath, my full shaving routine. I'm doing my skincare. I'm going to cook. I have this new thing that I got at the grocery store. And it was heaven. But it was so fucking uncomfortable in the very beginning. And so living alone with yourself forces you to go through all of these waves of emotion. You will feel loneliness. You will feel a little bit disconnected in moments. And that is okay. It's good. Because the opposite is you're never alone. And you live with all these people. And then all of a sudden you go and you get married and you never be alone unless you make that alone time. Again, you can live with people, but are you being alone while you're living with the people? You can have alone time while you have a partner, but are you actively putting yourself into that position? And so you have to look at it and it's like this alone time when you are living by yourself or you are alone in whatever capacity that looks like for you. The biggest lesson I learned while I was living alone is when you are forced to be alone through difficult moments, whether it's something really horrible happened to you that day, whether you're struggling in your relationship and you're crying in your room, there becomes this resilience that you start to pick up because while you're alone, and if you force yourself to try to handle things that maybe you in the past were able to run into your living room to your friend and be like, look what he just said, what do I do? Or pick up the phone and call your mom or your friend or whoever. All of a sudden, if you start to force yourself to be in those feelings, to actually start to have to work through, what is this bringing up for me? Why am I so upset? Why am I so hurt? Why am I crying? Why am I reacting this way? You start to have to process all of these internal things that a lot of times externally on the surface you can solve with people around you, but it's still just a Band-Aid. When you're alone, you're deep in your fucking soul and your core being like, how am I going to get myself through this? And why is this so painful? And that builds fucking strength. And the more you get your reps in having to rely on yourself, not in an unhealthy way, because I know there's people that grew up and you had to rely on yourself. I'm talking about finding the good balance of being like, oh, I fucking love myself. I trust myself. I know myself. As uncomfortable as it is, that's when you're going to become the best version of yourself. And to kind of wrap up and summarize all of this of why being alone is so helpful for your individual growth, I think the final point I want to make, Daddy Gang, is when you get to that point where you trust yourself, you love yourself, you know yourself because of the alone time you're spending with yourself, you start to be more selective in your life. And I have personally experienced this. When you find that rhythm with yourself, you start to be like, I don't need to externally go to the dinner and find more friends and go to the thing and call people and be on social media and read these things and be all consumed by other than yourself, because you're good with yourself. So when you do invest your time, it's because you get to be selfishly like, do I actually want that? Because I'm good with myself. So this is an additive in my life where prior, you're going to fill this validation hole. You're going to do this for validation. You're going to do this because you're too afraid to be with yourself. You're going to do this because you want to avoid being lonely. You're not lonely. You're just physically alone. And I think a huge part that I realize is you really stop tolerating performative friendships. I think every year that I keep getting older, I'm realizing like I used to go to these dinners and I used to sit there and I would just be like, I don't feel as connected to this person anymore, but I have to go to the dinners, right? And it's like, no. Build off of the relationships that truly fill you up and are truly healthy and make you feel good and are reciprocal. Like you get things from them, they get things from you. Like you will start to be more selective, Daddy Gang. And your time is all that fucking matters in this life. How are you investing your time? Stop wasting it on bullshit. Stop wasting it watching some girl that makes you fucking jealous on social media. Start building yourself up. Start feeling more confident in yourself. And that starts with you doing it on your fucking own. You don't need your friend to tell you you're beautiful and you're pretty and you're successful and you're smart and you're all the things that you hope you hear from someone one day. Tell yourself. Embody it. Be it. And that is when you actually have true freedom, because you're good on your own. So I loved the line, and we can end with that, is enjoying your own company is not a chapter, it's a foundation. This is not a feeling that it's going to be quick and fun. This is for the rest of your life. People go through heartbreak. People lose people die, you move across the country, you break up with friendships. So much turnover happens in our lives, but the one constant is ourselves. So you better be really fucking comfortable with yourself, because while you're going through all the hardest fucking things in your life, if you're able to turn inward to yourself in a healthy way, not a coping mechanism way, not a hyper independence way where you're just like, I have to do this on my own. No, it's where like, oh, I got this. Doesn't mean you don't need people. Doesn't mean you shouldn't call your mom or your friend, but you're doing it because you're like, I have how I feel about this. I want to get another opinion on this. It's not, I can't deal with this on my own, so I have to call this person. No. Get your shit together, Daddy Gang. You are enough for yourself. Lean the fuck in. Okay. I hope you like that TED Talk. We are now going to do some questions, because I don't know if it's time of year. I don't know if it's because fall is creeping up on us, but I have been inundated with questions recently, and I really wanted to do some TLC together and get you guys right where you need to be. So let's go to France, bitches. Here we go. Question 1. Hi, Daddy. Would love your thoughts. I have been seeing a guy from Hinge for about 10 days. We've had 3 long dates, sleepovers, no sex, but some hooking up. He's followed me on IG, brought me a small gift, and made it clear he was really into me. Last night, I asked if he was sleeping with anyone else, and he said yes. It stung, even though we just started seeing each other. Am I crazy for being upset and wanting to be exclusive already, or am I crazy for still wanting to date him after that? Okay. Being blunt, yes, you're crazy for wanting to be exclusive already. You've known this man for 10 days. I would go as far to say you don't know his middle name. You don't know much about him other than there is a great initial spark, which is so relatable. And I have experienced this before, where it's like lightning in a bottle those first 2 weeks, and it's so fun. My thought is, I have been there also, where you're feeling in the moment there's such an incredible connection with someone that you're seeing. So when you find out they're still hooking up with other people, it fucking hurts. I don't care if it's irrational. I don't care if it's you overthinking that you guys have this great connection. Like, it's normal to feel like that. Like, fuck, we've had the best dates. We've had the best conversations. Like, yeah, that fucking hurts to know that he was inside of someone last night. Like, it fucking hurts. What I will say is I actually really appreciate that he was honest with you. He didn't offer up this information out of random on a date being like, yeah, this bitch I fucked last night. You asked him, are you sleeping with other people? And he was honest with you. So I think you have to look at that, where I have dated so many fucking men that they would never be honest. And then I would find out like a year later that they were completely lying. And then they actually went on to cheat on me. So it was like, oh, you couldn't be honest before we were exclusive. So why the fuck would you be honest while we were exclusive? So points for him for being honest, even though it hurt. Here's what I will say. I think the only option for you is you could go back and be honest and say, hey, I have had such a fun time having these great dates with you. I will be straightforward, though, that when I did ask if you were sleeping with other people, I was kind of surprised by my reaction internally. Like, I was upset that you're sleeping with other people. And I realize that's not okay, because we are nowhere close to dating. We've gone on 3 dates. They've been awesome. But I guess what I will say is I do really like our vibe and where this is going. And so all I will ask moving forward is that you do keep that same level of honesty with me throughout the rest of us talking, because as much as it sucked to hear, it is what I needed to hear to like keep me in line. And I think, if I'll be honest, like you getting me that gift, it fucked with my head a little bit. And so I just want to be honest where we're at. I still want to talk to you and hang, but I was a little thrown off. And hopefully his response is like, I am so sorry. Also, I need to know what the gift is. Like, did he buy you coffee? Like, don't lie to me. You're like, he got me the most incredibly delicious gift, Alex. I'm like, did he buy you a fucking latte, you whore? Like, you're like, yeah, he got me a fucking water bottle while we were at Walmart. Like, no. If he's getting you like jewelry, crazy. But if he got you like flowers, I actually think that's okay too. Like, maybe he's just trying to be a sweet guy. The point is, Daddy Gang, is beginning days of relationships are so fucking difficult because no two people ever move at the same speed. One person is always going to catch feelings faster. And so the way to actually have it be a potentially healthy future is you have to be so fucking upfront and honest and communicate. But also, you have to also be self-aware and do the opposite in moments to realize you don't always have to be like, I really wish you weren't having sex with other people. You can feel that, but maybe you can not say that after 10 days of knowing this man, because you may come off actually as the one that's trying to progress it too quickly and you're going to scare him away. Let things progress naturally, even if it hurts a little bit knowing he's still out there hooking up with other women. Okay, next question. Daddy, please help. I'm 23 and recently started my first job as a nurse. My manager is horrible and treats me like I'm a clueless child. She talks down to me in front of patients, nitpicks everything I do, and clearly doesn't respect me because I'm young. I know I should stand up for myself, but I have zero confidence when she's around. How do I deal with a toxic boss without risking my job? Okay, first of all, I want to validate you when you just said I have zero confidence when she's around, like, because I'm nervous to stand up for myself. That is normal. And I want to normalize that. Like, when people are like, oh, well, just blah, blah, blah. No. This person holds the keys to your career right now. And so there is a power imbalance that is happening. It is so fucking difficult to navigate these moments. So I am sorry you're dealing with this, especially being a nurse. You're trying to help people. And the fact that your supervisor above you is treating you less than, it's not okay. So if you guys watched my Hulu documentary, I think it was actually really beautiful. A lot of the biggest takeaways that you guys wrote into me was, oh my gosh, the gift that your mom gave you of teaching you to write everything down. And I couldn't agree more. Shout out to Lori Cooper. My mom, my entire life, has always said, write it down. You need to write every bit of information down. The moment she makes you feel uncomfortable, the moment she's being rude, you need to write it in your phone, or a lot of times, if I'm being crazy, like legally, it's actually better to write it on a physical piece of paper, but write it down. And you need to be very specific every single moment, because what's going to happen, and I hate to say this is your career and someone is treating you unfairly in the workplace. This is eventually potentially going to get to a case for HR. And I know that's really scary, but because there's a power imbalance, unfortunately, you need to make sure you have ample enough evidence if there is going to be a dynamic change. So first is write everything down. Secondly, I would say, I think something that we have to remember, and it sucks because sometimes we're not always met with the answer that we want because understandably other people are in tough positions because their job is lying too, but share this with your coworkers. I remember back when I was in college, a big thing that I struggled with when my coach was sexually harassing me was I'm in a competitive situation, right? My teammates who are wanting my position and I'm wanting their position, like it was hard to open up to certain teammates, but it was easier for others. And I'm happy that I did that because those people stood up for me in the end. And then some women didn't, you know what I mean? And that's their prerogative. But I think for you, find your allies. You're not asking them to do anything almost. You're just asking them to hear you out and to listen to you. Because then when HR has to get involved one day, you will say, this person and this person I've shared this with them and I've confided in them and they have witnessed it, just so there's some witnesses. And when you're in the room and this woman is doing this to you, you can make eye contact with your coworkers and they can acknowledge, oh yeah, here it goes again. So make some allies, share what's going on. And then the next step I would say is, I wouldn't even say this is like giving someone the benefit of the doubt, but I think this is something that my parents have also instilled in me. And as uncomfortable as it is, and as hard as it is, I want to vouch for you right now and validate you and say it's so fucking hard, but I think you should have a conversation with your boss. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be awkward and you are going to feel emotional, but you need to advocate for yourself because this will only help you in the long run with your career and learning to have difficult conversations in power dynamic imbalances. And her response to what you come with, that's on her. We can't control if she's going to be inappropriate and rude again, but you can control yourself so that you can again write it down that you went and you asked for this woman to just treat you fairly and she couldn't do it. And I had written down when I was preparing this episode for you, I thought something that you could say literally verbatim, because I know this is a very sticky situation, is you could sit her down and say, hey, I just wanted to have a moment to just quickly check in with you. So I think you need to approach this entire conversation and under the guise of feedback. You are coming in and you're essentially going to say, I am always open to feedback, but I would appreciate if we could keep it professional and respectful when that feedback is being given, especially in front of patients. Essentially what you're saying is you're a fucking dumb cunt who's being absolutely unprofessional, and I'm coming to you as your underling, and I am literally trying yet again to be professional back to you, and I would love if you could meet me there, you dumb fucking bitch, okay? And when she can't do that, or hopefully she does say, I completely hear it. And maybe she'll voice something. I have found that. And then maybe she gives you feedback. And then you'll say, totally understand. I want to get better at my job. But I just, again, please would really appreciate if we could keep it respectful in our communication and appropriate. If she cannot handle it, which I'm assuming she can't because people are in fucking power trips over power trips when they're in positions of powers like that, yet again, you will send a follow-up email to her and you will put in writing to your boss, I just wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you for meeting with me and wanted to just reiterate that I am always open to feedback, but I would appreciate moving forward if you could keep it professional and respectful when you give me feedback, especially in front of patients. You put that shit in writing, you put it in your HR box, and then the day that it continues after that, you then go to HR. And it sucks, and it is... Daddy gang, like it is fucking everywhere. It is everywhere. And that is where when I did talk about this and my experience with this, I will say to you, it is not easy. It is uncomfortable. And it is most of the times you are not going to be believed. And that fucking sucks to say. But what are you going to do? Continue to live in this hell? No, you got to advocate for yourself. And the worst fucking thing is when I've had literally friends have to leave jobs But at the end of the day, you need to choose yourself and you need to stick up for yourself, because the more that this continues, your mental health will deteriorate and you need to protect yourself. And I'm so sorry you're going through this. So fuck, right back in. And I really hope that this can be resolved, because nobody deserves this, especially when it comes to you're trying to do your job and pay your bills and your boss is prohibiting you from doing that to the best of your ability and in a safe mental capacity. I fucking hate people.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Libre by Yves Saint Laurent. Looking for a new statement fragrance? YSL's iconic Libre collection is everything you have been looking for to turn heads and feel your most confident. I feel like vanilla fragrances are all the rage right now, and YSL's Libre Eau de Parfum Intense is the best one out there. If you're looking for something that is subtle, delicious, and sweet, you cannot go wrong, Daddy Gang, with Libre by Yves Saint Laurent. It truly smells so good. And of course, the original Libre Eau de Parfum never misses either. That iconic fragrance is infused with lavender and orange blossom, and it's the most amazing warm floral for every day. Daddy Gang, I have truly never gotten more compliments in my life than when I'm wearing something from YSL's Libre collection. Listen, I may be showing up somewhere rocking a sweatsuit, but even if I don't always look completely put together, you better know I'm always smelling good, okay? I always smell put together. The scents are warm, they're cozy, and just always feel sexier when I'm wearing something that smells amazing. Matt loves the vanilla flavor, so I can't wait to wear the Libre Eau de Parfum Intense next time we have a date night. Having a good signature scent has been a mission of mine for a while now, and I have finally found it. So if you're looking for something that is subtle, delicious, and sweet, you cannot go wrong with Libre by Yves Saint Laurent. Shop now at Sephora. Daddy Gang, it is time to stop wearing the same pair of stretched out, busted leggings from 5 years ago. We deserve an upgrade, okay? So here you go. I know that these Roback leggings are going to officially become your favorite go-to leggings. Roback just launched their new Vista collection, which I know is going to become your go-to favorite. They are a classic style, so they work with literally everything. They're also soft, high-waisted, we love, and flattering in all the ways that make you feel like you actually have your life together, even if you're crashing out on a random Tuesday, okay? And it's not just leggings in this collection. Roback also dropped matching bra tops and layering pieces so that you can create the perfect set. And you guys know there is nothing that I love more than a cute, comfortable matching set. It looks like you have your life together. It's like, oh my God, she's a fashionista. You know what I mean? Worn together or worn separately, Roback's Vista collection is perfect for hitting the gym, grabbing a coffee with friends, or looking hot without trying too hard when the new guy you're talking to comes over. Daddy Gang, it's time that we stop pretending that those 5-year-old leggings are still working for us and upgrade to the Roback Vista collection. Use the code CALLHERDADDY on roback.com for a generous 20% off your first order. Woo! Through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. Love you. Okay, next question. So my parents recently retired and are in their empty nester phase. I know it's been a hard adjustment for them, and I feel bad even saying this, but my mom has gotten so clingy. She calls me multiple times a day and is always texting me and is constantly asking when I'm coming over to see them. I obviously love her, but I think we need some boundaries. How do I do that without hurting her feelings? Girl... Lori, I love you, but girl, my mother and I, we now laugh about it, but we went through this exact same thing. And it is so fucking normal. And I want to validate you and tell you I have been there. And I know my mom wouldn't care about this because I know this is real life. Like, this is so fucking normal. And here is how I think you could handle it. Number one, not to like invalidate you, but it's like the best part of this is like your mom loves you to death and she just wants to talk to you. And she clearly isn't reading the room because she's bored. She's literally bored and she wants to talk to you all the time. And it's becoming overwhelming. But with daughter or son and mother dynamics, it's fucking hard because when you get to a point where you are the adult trying to set boundaries with your parents, it can trigger them in a way that even if you're being so loving, sometimes they can take it the wrong way. It can feel like rejection. It can feel like you don't want to hang out with them at all. Like they can just
misinterpret what you're saying. And sometimes, let's be honest, with our parents, we aren't as familiarized with like being the mature one and being like, hey, I really need you to blah, 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 blah. They're the parents. They're the ones that are supposed to be being mature enough to realize, hey, you're breathing down my throat. So I can also validate you and saying like, this fucking sucks to have this type of conversation. And sometimes it's not a one-time conversation is what I will prep you for, because when my mom and I went through that phase where it was mostly because I moved across the country, and I think my mom was feeling so disconnected from me, and my siblings still both lived on the East Coast, and I was the one child that she just like, I was busy and I was doing all these things, and she would watch my life on social media, but then she kind of like didn't know what I was actually up to behind the scenes, and she would always want to talk to me. And so she would call me so often that then I almost felt this pit in my stomach where I was like, there's so much I have to tell her, and I haven't talked to her in so fucking long. I don't know where to start. So then I would put it off even more. And then it would build up and build up and build up. And she would feel rejected and like I wasn't wanting to talk to her and connect with her. And I would feel like I was like being smothered and it was too much. And it was like more quantity over quality, just like nice, good conversations that we could both agree on when we were having them. So here is what I will say now that I've proved that I can relate to you. First things first, I think you need to have a conversation with your mom, and you need to go over to her place, or you need to FaceTime her, and you need to basically say, Mom, I love you so much. And I have been thinking about it recently that I have this like, I don't even know if it's guilt, but there's just like a pit in my stomach when it comes to our relationship right now. And I want to clarify, it's nothing bad that we're both, either of us, doing. I'm realizing we're in this weird phase where our dynamic is changing. And I know you're in your empty nestering and I'm fucking busy, and we're not clicking right now. And I love you. And I always want to click with you because you are my mother. But if I can give you any insight into how I'm feeling, I sometimes feel like I love that you reach out, but when it becomes a lot, and I know you're probably not doing it to smother me, but when it becomes a lot, I get overwhelmed because I feel like I'm letting you down, that I can't pick up the phone every time you call. And so what I was thinking is having an open dialogue about, let's reset the dynamic. Let's be honest about, you want to talk, I want to talk, so when can we talk? And let's set time, or let's send a text every week being like, hey, my day or night is light on Wednesday. Would that work for you for a quick FaceTime call? Or could you do dinner on Wednesday? And you guys find a time once every 2 weeks or once a month or once every week, whatever you're comfortable with. Your cadence, everyone's different. And ask her, would that work for you? Because I want to tell you everything and I want to give you all the details. But I also want to be clear, if I get busy some weeks and I'm not able to talk to you, I really want you to know it is nothing personal. I'm not avoiding you. I love you, Mom. I'm just busy living my life as a woman in her 20s. I've got my friends, I've got my relationships, I got my job. I'm all over the place. And you're my constant. I love you. But sometimes I can't give you all the updates. If you meet your mother with that level of like, I love you, and I'll be honest, and I have talked about it with Lauren a lot of times, where we would be like, I'm getting the ick. I'm literally getting the ick. Push through the ick and have a loving conversation. Sometimes you want to be like, I literally can't even have the conversation with my parents. They're annoying the fuck out of me. This will get the dynamic reset, but you have to be the one to do it. And I know it fucking sucks, but you will thank me in the long run, because I have never been in a better place with my mom. We went through a lot of changes and it almost took us a year to come back to like center. And I think a lot had to do with, Matt became my primary person when we started dating. I moved across the country. My mom was no longer my primary person because my mom is my best friend and I would always call her about everything. And all of a sudden I started calling Matt more. And then I would talk to Matt more about things and I wouldn't call home as much and I didn't rely on them as much. And then I built a friend group in Los Angeles and then I started being busy. And to my parents' credit, and we have to give all of our parents credit in this dynamic, is when your life is falling apart and you're lonely and you're all these things, and I've had so many moments in my life where I'm moving into a new apartment after a breakup sobbing, and I have no money and my parents are helping fund my life and they're helping me get on my feet, or they're dropping everything in the middle of the night and driving into the city to help me with something, or driving, whatever it is. Your parents usually will drop fucking anything for you, and we expect that of them. But because it's a child-parent dynamic, they can't expect that of us. And I think that is a really fucking hard thing that I'm even mentally preparing for whenever I decide to be a mother. It's like they give you 100 and you don't have to give them 100 back. And as a parent, you kind of have to acknowledge that that's what parenting is. They love us unconditionally. And sometimes we're like, I need you. I need you. I need you. Well, now I don't need you. And I'm not going to call you for 2 weeks. And they're like, oh, you need me when you need me, but when you have all the fun stuff happening, I only get the calls when you're going through a disaster. That's parenthood, apparently. Okay. So I have all the empathy for all the parents out there, because my mom and I have had a lot of conversations about the dynamic is fucking hard on both sides. Let's acknowledge it. Let's talk about it. Put it out in the open instead of you having this pit in your stomach. And I promise you, the pit will immediately go away. Because when I had my conversation with my mom a couple years ago, she met me with, we cried, we hugged, and we were like, why didn't we talk about this earlier? Literally, that's how it ended. We were like, and now we have this whole rule where we're like, never will we get back to that place. We're just going to always talk it through. Okay, next question. Hi, Alex. I need advice. I have lived in New York for a couple years and made some really great friends, including my best friend. Let's call her Kayla. A couple months ago, my good friend from home moved to the city, and I immediately pulled her into our friend group. She and Kayla really hit it off, which I love, but they started hanging out one-on-one without me, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I never said anything, but I just found out that they planned a trip together this summer and didn't include me. I get they have their own friendship now, but how do I tell them that this really hurt me? Okay. Wow. Damn. There's a lot to unpack here, but like them and the trip planning, like that fucking sucks. And I'm really fucking sorry. My first point that I think is important to touch on would be, most of the time people's relationships with each other have nothing to do with you, right? Like interpersonal dynamics are so specific between two people, and friend groups of 3 are definitely hard. But my gut would just say they are currently just caught up in this new, fresh, exciting friendship and this feeling of their bonding over these new things and this dynamic. It's an all fun, and like you've been their friend forever. They know everything about you and they're learning these things about each other, and it's very fun and all the good things. And so I would first say, like, yeah, don't take that fully personally. They are being inconsiderate for sure, but most likely they're not intentionally, I would at the beginning of this, before we get to the trip, say that they're trying to exclude you in any way. You want your friends to be friends with each other. Like that's the dream, right? That everyone gets along. But it definitely can be frustrating, I think, when you get into those dynamics, because you can't help but compare yourself. Like it's normal to be like, oh, I hope they don't like love each other more than they love me. And like, that's fine to feel. I do think, like, of course, it's a little immature, because you should have confidence in both of your dynamics, where it's like, that's lovely that they're going out to dinners. But then we get to the trip. And I think that is what changes this entire answer and advice, because yes, it's a little hurtful if they were going to some dinners alone, but you guys are still always doing group dinners and you're doing individuals with them. The trip is definitely something that I personally think you now need to address, because before I'd be like, oh, they're just hanging out more alone, like, but they still hang. No, you need to address this. I don't think you need to attack them per se, but I do think that you need to sit them down, and I think you need to say something along the lines of like, hey, you guys know that I love you both, and I'm so genuinely happy that you two have become friends. And I think I have to be honest that finding out that you guys planned a trip without me, I felt really excluded, and I feel really upset, and I feel really hurt by this. And I wanted to just come to you honestly and just communicate and see, like, is there a reason that I was left out? Because I'm feeling really hurt, and I want to know if I did something to not warrant getting invited. And as uncomfortable as that conversation is, I think you need to have it, because there is a chance they're going to get defensive. And if they do and they don't consider your feelings, and you're like, well, we're allowed to like be friends. Like, I can already see that coming. They're like, we're literally allowed to, like, you're not like the ringleader of this. We're allowed to like be friends. Totally. But who the fuck in their 20s goes on fucking couple trips together as friends and leaves out the other like, it's more fun to have more girls if you're going somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So if they do get defensive and they start to kind of put it back on you, I do think you kind of need to reevaluate, like, do they actually value your friendship, or what are you missing here that they were so easily able to discard you and now lean into a new duo? I think I can relate. I had this in middle school. TBT. 3 are hard in a dynamic of friendship. That's a really hard number if it's core best friends, because it can always lead to someone slightly feeling left out. But you have to remember, you have pre-existing relationships with both of these people, and they are still in this new excited phase. So have the conversation, get in there. If they're rude, I think you have to reconsider the friendships. I also think the last note would be, we got to look inward. We always gotta look inward. You know, Kayla's off with Rebecca, but what are you up to, Denise? You know, maybe Denise, I don't know if that's your name. Maybe you are being annoying as fuck. And maybe you have been doing shit where, God forbid, they're bonding. They actually don't even like each other, but they've bonded over their hatred for you. That's the worst case scenario. That's the worst case. But I just want to put it out there. Look inward a little bit. Obviously, I'm joking and being like drama, but look inward. Have you been doing anything that they've given you light feedback on at dinners, being like, oh yeah, like you're always so judgy, or like, yeah, you always cancel, or you, whatever it be? Have they given you any inkling of things that they haven't been happy with you about that you think that they could be bonding over? Because if they're bonding over their hatred and annoyance of you, yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked. And we got to rebuild, but you're going to have to own it. And in that conversation, if they're honest with you and they do give you constructive criticism of like, can we be honest back? Like, we've been feeling XYZ. You got to take it on the chin. And if you want to work on that relationship, you have to take accountability, and you need to say, I'm so sorry that I've ever made you guys feel that way. I promise you I'm going to own that. But I would love to work on our friendship. And please, can we be more considerate? Because like 3 is hard and I feel a little left out. And I promise I'm going to work on that. And they'll be like, okay, but this is a tough one. I'm really sorry. Thruples are tough. Someone's always going to be getting actually physically fucked, and then someone to the left is going to be actually just getting fucked because they're not getting the physical fucking. Do you know what I mean? Someone's always left out. Okay, next question. Hi, Alex. A couple months ago, I found out that my boyfriend had been asking his ex-girlfriend for explicit photos. What the fuck? While he and I were together. I literally hate men. Okay, what else? I made the decision to stay with him after that. Okay. Nothing that I know of has happened since then. However, I looked up his ex-girlfriend on Instagram the other day, and he liked her most recent photo that was posted 1 day ago. Motherfucker. Is this grounds for a breakup? Am I being over dramatic? It feels like a big deal to me, but is it just stupid Instagram and it's just a like? Yeah, girl. They okay. Well, you know, here's the thing. You got to end it. And I love that you're like, is it just a stupid Instagram? Like, no, he was getting nudies from his ex. That should have been the end. But now the Instagram, like, it's got to end because it's just disrespect through and through. This man is taking a massive, giant dump on your face, and you keep just wiping it off and being like, it's all right, we'll get through this. And it's like, he's like, God, she just gets back up every fucking time. She's a warrior. And he's just plowing you. He's just plowing you. And he's like, God, there's zero self-respect. I can just fuck this bitch up and she just stays with me. Okay, I'm sorry, that's tough love, but like, actually, we got to have a little bit of self-respect here because he has none for you. So the only person that's going to respect you in this dynamic is yourself, because your boyfriend clearly has no fucking respect for you. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to break up with this man. He is showing you he doesn't like you. He has zero interest in ever stopping his inappropriate behavior. Let me say this. If your boyfriend is liking other girls' Instagram photos, you should not be with that man. That's weird. That's creepy. And don't ever let a man just be like, oh, like you're so drama. Like, what do you mean? It's just a like. A like means my wiener is hard, so I'm gonna poke you. He's probably liking the picture with his weenie. He's like, bink. He's jacking off, and it's like, hey, give it a like. And then he's fucking sliding into her DMs and sending a disappearing fucking mode dick pic that he just jizzed all over a fucking picture. And you're like, it's just a like, right? You're getting brainwashed by men. Likes mean I like your pussy. I want to get in and around that. And guess what? He's already been inside of her because it's his ex-girlfriend. That's what makes it even worse. It's like he's like basically showing you he could. Let me say this. Men could try. And if you're like in that part of your life where you're going to get gaslit like that, men can try and be like, it's just a like, you're being so drama. Fair. It's his ex. Like there is no gaslighting of like, you're being dramatic. No. He has licked her labia, her lips. He knows if she has an innie or an outie. He knows the exact angle to her G. Well, he may not know her G spot because he may be like horrible at fucking. That's besides the point. He knows what her tits look like. He knows the size of her nipples. He knows what her belly button looks like. He has come on her back, her chest, in her mouth. He's come in her hair. Okay. They've gone to family dinners together. Like they've been in it. But no, yeah, it's just a like. It's just a like. It's just a like. It's never a like. End the relationship, have some self-respect, and move the fuck on, because you are going to be 10 times happier, because this is what I will tell you, because I have been there. I am no better. I have literally been cheated on, and I have stayed with someone. And when I think back to that time, I was just so afraid. I was so afraid to leave. I was convinced there were so many things going on. Your ego is not in check, so you're like, what do you mean, like I'm gonna break up with him? So you almost want to like, you want to convince yourself that you can make it work. He already told you he doesn't want to make it work, but he's like, well fuck, this bitch just keeps coming back, like okay, I'll keep her around and she lets me cheat, it's perfect. No, self-respect, get out. And I'm telling you, once you leave, you're gonna feel like shit for 2 seconds, and then you're gonna be at a bar and you're gonna see a fucking hot ass dude and you're gonna be like, yeah, I can find better. So end it, move on, and never fucking put up with that shit again. Okay? That is it for this week's episode. And, oh yeah, look, wait, you guys, this is such a nice little closer to the person that just wrote in about you getting fucked over. Now we go all the way back to the beginning of this episode. We love a full circle. You're going to be alone. And what are you going to do? You're going to listen to the beginning of this episode and you're going to learn how to be alone. And you're going to be the hottest, baddest, most gorgeous bitch ever. You're going to be so good at being alone. You don't even need that fucking dirty, crusty ass, little fucking loser ass bitch boy of a man. So Daddy Gang, I love you so much. And being in New York City, it brings it out of me. I love it here. I missed the city and I missed you guys. So happy Sunday. Every Sunday is Father's Day. And you know the motherfucking drill. I will see you fuckers on Wednesday. Goodbye.